So we want to start by writing the vertex form, right? If they're giving us a vertex, let's do vertex. So let's say y equals, you can use y or f of x. A, x, is it x minus 3? X minus 2 plus 3? Minus 3. Okay. I have 3 unknowns. I just plugged in 1, 2. There's only one unknown, right? If I have one unknown, I need to have a point. So I got a point. How do I use this point to find A? Well, what does the 8 represent?
It's a X.
Exactly. This is X and this is Y, right? So Y, I put in 69 equals blah 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 blah. What type of problem is this? What order? Degree? It looks second, but it's really just 6 squared, right? So that's arithmetic. It's a first. This is a simple linear equation. I'm gonna give you guys the satisfaction of solving this in the next minute, because it really only takes, actually takes 47.6 seconds, but I'll give you a minute. $72 equals 36A. Is that right? Now, is this really a hard problem when you look at the math now? It looks scary, didn't it? What the heck is going on? So how did I do this? I have a vertex, write something down. And what you should write down is any formula that you think applies here. Now, clearly, because they're giving us a vertex, we're going to use a vertex form, right? So just always, like if a problem says find the area, start by writing A equals LW. Because at least now you got something, right? And I'm like, okay, well, what's L, what's W? Work it out. Right? Are we done yet? No. But this part's the easy part. So we have f of x equals 2x minus 2 squared minus 3. So what do we do now? Work it out, work it out. I won't sing for you. Now, did we do any hard math on this problem? I didn't even use my calculator. I didn't even use my fingers or my toes. The most complicated part of this problem, calculation-wise, was maybe 6 squared, which we all know is 36, right? Everything else was pretty simple. Now, do I like to ask questions like this on a test? Yeah. So you would put a nice star next to this and say, Morales is going to be mean and ask this question. But you're actually going to say Morales is nice because this question actually wasn't hard. And we just saw how to do it, so All is well. All right. Okay, let's see. I'm going to skip. This is a long word problem, but I'm just going to give you the formula. Because you'll need it for your homework.
Is that a 5 or a S?
S. Yeah. All right, at time t. And then we have S naught. S0 is the initial height.
Is that plus 50 or plus S?
S, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no 5s in this at all, so all of them are S's. So this is a famous equation. Have you guys seen it before? If you guys took physics in high school or something, what this equation says is I got something, and a projectile just means it's something that's being thrown, right? Now there's parameters here. Now, if I throw this paper clip, it's obviously going to hit the ground at some point, right? But where it goes, well, if I were to throw it straight up, I should say. When does it hit the ground? How high does it go? All of these questions depend on where do I start? Because obviously if I'm higher and I throw it at the same velocity up, it's going to go higher if I start higher, right? And then if I throw it harder, that's also going to affect it, right? So the question is, when did it hit the ground? When was it at its highest point? When, whatever, all these other questions. So there's just basically two parameters here. Your initial height, your initial velocity. And the word problems are pretty simple, but that's the formula. So if you're throwing something off a cliff, hopefully not yourself, you're throwing something in the trash can, right? Or whatever it is. The question is, where does this negative 16 come from? Why? Why negative 16? So this is in feet. In meters, it's 9.8. But anything that you throw pretty much follows this equation pretty darn accurately. The only exceptions are if you throw paper or something, because paper has, what does paper have that the paper clip doesn't have?
Wait.
Right? Air resistance, right? Whereas the paper clip more or less was
More advanced.
right. But then take the same piece of paper. Now it's normal again, right? Maybe it's abnormal. Maybe it was normal and I broke it. We'll never know. Anyways, that's that. Okay. So now let's move on to quadratic inequalities. So we're going to begin. Now you're going to use this zero product property a lot. You're probably not going to call it that. You'll probably call it like Frank or Ted, but you're going to use it without, you know. I'm going to call it ZPP. Because, yeah, you know me. I'm down with ZPP. So, it's really simple. A times B equals 0 means, this is exactly how I'm going to write them when I do this. A equals 0, B equals 0. It's actually or, right? There's if I say A times B equals 0, one of them has to be 0. Has to be. Or both of them could be 0. So this is when we factor quadratics, you know, and then, well, let's just do a problem. Solve 2x squared plus 4x minus 16 equals 0. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to factor it and then use ZPP. Now this type of problem, this should be a math 122/97 problem / math 89 problem. Solve this however you normally would. Let's put it that way. What's the first thing you should do? Is what? What's the first thing you should do? You don't even have to factor. You can just divide everything by 2, right? Now, would you guys rather factor this or would you rather factor this? Which one looks nicer to you? The purple one, right? So what's nice is once you have this equals 0, you don't have to carry around that 2 anymore. Because when you divide both sides by 0, it's gone. So I'll give you guys 56.3 seconds to solve that. Some of you guys could just look at this problem and know the answer. You guys didn't even need that much time. X. Let's see, x minus 4?
2 plus 4.
Which one?
Minus 2 plus 4.
Yeah, plus 4. Now this, well, okay, so I didn't really express. I'm going to do it once just to show what I'm really doing here. What I'm really doing here is, this is A times B, right? So this becomes x plus 4 equals 0. So I skipped a step. But that step that I skipped, see, I didn't call it. I didn't call it CPP. You guys got it? Okay, now let's solve. x squared minus x minus 12 is less than 0. Uh-oh. So I'm going to give you some steps, because technically I haven't done this problem before. Step 1, panic, is solve the corresponding. This is a little bit different than usual. Solve the corresponding equation. Is this an equation? No, it's an inequality. So the corresponding equation would be x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. 2, lather. 3, rinse. So solve. Lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. And you never stop because it keeps saying repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. And before you know it, you're bald. Can we factor this one? Maybe. Can we? No? I want to be optimistic today. I'm going to say yes. What factors of negative 12, when you add them together, give you negative 1? Negative 4 times 3. Okay. So now we have x minus 4, x plus 3. Now, is it okay if I just jump to the answer?
Yes.
Okay, so this green arrow is the ZPP. Now this is where it gets different. Okay. Now what we need to do is build the wall. Right? I'm going to call it make regions. What would be the cheapest way to build a wall? If you wanted to lower your labor costs, what would you do? Who would you hire to lower your costs for construction? How ironic, huh? If you wanted to really save America like billions of dollars, you'd actually hire non-Americans. So make regions. Now this is what I mean. You know it already got approved by executive order, right? Like it's going to happen. I can't wait because then America will be great again. So once that wall is built, like my student loans will go away, crime will go away. Like, can't wait. So this is what you do. This is by the wall I meant. You're just going to kind of build regions here. Now this is what we know. We know that the functions. Oh, so now this. See these lines I drew made it look like a 13. Negative 3. Okay. So we know. Actually, even before Trump, I always use the border analogy here. So we know that this is the border, right? And we know at this point and at this point, you're at the Mariposa point of entry. But there's two ways to be there, right? You could either be going into Mexico or you could be going out of Mexico, right? The question is, where are you here? Are you in Mexico here or are you in the United States? Now, what I mean in this class is, are you positive or are you negative? So here, are we positive or negative? No. I said so. Negative? when you plug it into this. So if I call this f of x, is f of x up here or is it down here? Well, there's two ways to do this. The way the book says is a long way, is you use test points. You're going to have to use test points later on, but we don't have to now. The test point says, well, let's find out what's the nicest number that's less than negative 3? Negative 4. On this side. What's the nicest number that's between negative 3 and 4? 0. And what's the nicest number out here? 5.67. You guys were close. So then you would calculate f of negative 4, and you say, is it greater than or positive? It's actually going to be greater than 0. If you don't believe me, use your calculator. Well, let's do it. Negative 4, that's going to be 16. Well, I need to use, what did I do wrong here? Yeah, it's greater than 0, so it's positive. 16 plus 4 is 20, minus 12 is 8, right? That's positive. That's this one right here. F of 0, well, that's easy. 0, 0, negative 12. So it's positive, negative. That's going to be positive. So you can work this out if you want. So this is actually going to be negative 0, and then f of 5 is going to be positive. Now, how do I know that it's always positive from here on out? How do I know that? And how do I know between negative 3 and 4 it stays negative? So let's say this is the United States, right? How do I know that this person is in the United States from negative 3 to 4? I'm guaranteed that he's here. Because, and this is in a world where there's only 2 countries, okay? There's no Canada or whatever. I know this person is still in the United States because to leave the United States, where do you have to cross? The border. Now, if I only know that I crossed the border once and then twice, and I'm not talking about tunneling underneath or, sneaking across. I'm talking about actually, I know for a fact this person crossed the border and then crossed again. They're back where they started, right? But see, there's an easier way to do this. I know what this looks like, right? This is a parabola that, does it open up or down? Up. So I know secretly, well, I don't know, it's not a secret. I guess everyone knows the secret now. I'm out. No, so the secret is the parabola here. It secretly looks like this, right? There's a tunnel right there. So I know that the parabola is positive here, it's negative here, and positive there. So without even doing the test points, just by knowing the shape, I'm good. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everyone? Even those that are falling asleep right now?
Why is it negative? Because it's under the x.
It's negative because if you plug in 0 as our test point,
Yeah.
0, 0, minus 12. Minus 12 is minus 12.
Say if you were to just do the graph without putting any numbers, you would sense.
So this way that I do it, that's what I'm saying. You could do it without the test points.
Mm-hmm.
Without the test points, the parabola has to look like this. So you know it has to be positive in the end over here, and it has to be positive in the end over here.
Okay.
It has to be. Because it's smiling, right? If it was frowning, it would go negative in the end.
So say if it was like negative, the function.
If it was open downward, it would be negative, positive, negative. Now I only got 10 more problems to do, so that's 3 problems per minute. Just joking. Go beyond.
What are you looking for as far as the answer goes?
Oh yeah. What's the answer here? We want to know where it's negative, right? So the answer is -3 to 4. That's the answer. And if we want to know where it's positive, it would be this union that. Thanks for bringing closure to this issue.